Talk Real Estate with Sharon McNamara, sponsored by Boston Connect Real Estate Services.
Hi, I'm your host, Sharon McNamara, and you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. Let me share a little bit about my background before we get started. I am the broker-owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, a boutique firm that is home to over 30 real estate sales and marketing agents who service home buyers and home sellers throughout Boston, the South Shore, the South Coast, and Cape Cod. Our firm takes pride in assisting our clients in the next chapter of their lives by taking a holistic approach to their real estate endeavors. We believe that every move should be a moving experience. Every week, my co-host Melissa Wallace and I will provide you with my team's unique marketing approach to selling homes and share with you our expertise in navigating the home buying process. We value the experience of our agents at Boston Connect Real Estate so much that not only will you hear my perspective on real estate topics, occasionally you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of our experienced agents at Boston Connect Real Estate. Be a part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you like to listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with me at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate. And good morning to all my South Shore neighbors. This is Sharon McNamara. You are, of course, listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. And I am here with the one and only Melissa Wallace. It's on the other side, Mel. Yeah, there you go. We're just trying to get our stuff put together. I know it's not professional of us, but that's what we're doing. And we have Tim McKinney in the house. Hello.
Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. And it's May. I always, you know what I always think about with May is this joke, and it's like, when are you getting married? May the day never come. In May. What? In May. May what? Oh, may the day never come. I don't know. I heard that a long time ago. I don't know.
May the day never come. That's crazy.
I know. Some. I don't know who made up that one, but it's sort of silly.
It almost sounds like a curse.
Yeah, I know, right?
May the day never come.
Exactly. As you're sitting there.
Wow.
With your stew. So today's a big day here at Boston Connect Real Estate. It is one of we have events throughout the year all the time. And, you know, we have our holiday one with Pictures with Santa. We do an ice cream social in June when school is out. And we do all kinds of different things throughout the year anyways. And today we are celebrating all of our moms and their moms for Mother's Day. And we're having a flower, like make your own bouquet.
Yeah, we are. I think last year was the first year that we had done it. Some of our agents here at Boston Connect Real Estate, got together and decided that they wanted to celebrate their clients, friends, family, and their own mothers. So just putting together this great little, I don't know, just day of celebrating the women in your life.
Exactly. Yeah. I love this one. So all the flowers are all set up downstairs, and it looks, when we put it on our front porch, it looks like an old general store.
Yeah.
So
I know. I'm excited. Yeah. So it's a lot to sort of figure out because flowers are tricky. They can be tricky. They want the right temperature. They want the right scenery, to bloom really. So yeah, we got all the flowers. Some of our agents got all the flowers yesterday, and
all the treats and cookies.
All the treats and cookies, and we're ready.
Yeah, we're having some yogurt parfaits and
quiche. I think, there's going to be a good amount of people here. So,
if you're going through the center of town and you see us, come say hello.
Yeah, come say hello.
We'll be here.
Pick a stem or two.
Yeah, pick a stem or two. Yeah, I picked up some extra ones yesterday, some extra sunflowers, yeah. But anyways, what are we talking about today?
Risk and liability.
Yeah, what's wrong with that?
It's allowed. I'm just going to turn it down.
Okay.
Risk and liability. Everybody knows that we come up with our topics from our everyday life here in real estate. Some conversations that have been happening here in the office. Some things that are going on even in our own business, even Sharon's business in real estate here. So We do want to talk about, I mean, we try to keep the show light, but, like anything else in life, there are some things that have some serious corners to it. So here we are going to be talking about risk and liability. So we're going to, and it's really just from, wow, I almost just lost my ears there. Risk and liability in real estate. So we're talking about what every buyer, seller, and agent needs to know. So, we'll start off first by defining what risk and liability really is. And I think risk is the possibility that something goes wrong. That's pretty self-explanatory. Liability is being legally or financially responsible when it does. Mm-hmm. So we have to be prepared.
Yeah, I know. And as the broker owner, I always come from a place of risk and liability always, right? So, the good thing for us, and one of the things that I'm super proud of is that's me, that we don't have any we've never had a situation where we had to utilize our E&O, which is our errors and omission. We've never had that situation happen to us, which is great. It's almost one of those things, though, like you shouldn't be surprised when somebody holds the door open for you. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, thank you for opening up the door. It's like, all right, that's just what, should be sort of standard practice in our world. We should never be sued, right?
No.
So, but you would be surprised at how many times things are not indicated the right way, things are not disclosed the right way. And what as agents, what are some of our responsibilities as agents and what we're supposed to be doing? Because when we are the listing agents on property, we certainly feel as if we have more risk in front of us in liability, because we want to protect those homes all the time.
Well, I mean, a buyer's agent should want to protect those homes all the time, too. Your eyes are so green today.
Have they?
They're so green. If you're watching us on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or anything,
look deep into my eyes.
So deep green. I was like, oh, my goodness.
Maybe I get a little closer. I had a good night's sleep, I guess.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
And, like I said, there's risk and liability all along the way, whether you're an agent or a buyer or a seller. It's a financial transaction situation. There's a lot of financial stakes in whether, again, you're the buyer, you're the seller, or any of the agents. Mm-hmm. There's just so many people that are involved. We want to make sure that nobody drops the ball. Mm-hmm. And it's not just the people that I just listed. It's also attorneys and lenders, inspectors. Mm-hmm. There's so many people involved that do hold some risk and liability around the way.
You know who I sort of feel bad for? The home inspectors. Their job is, it's a tough job, I guess. It's not really tough, because they're used to, they do the same, they're looking at the roof, they're looking at the foundation, they're looking at this, they're looking at that. But there are definitely houses where you can only see so much.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, the disclosure and waivers they have on their forms, they're pretty much like, you can't hold us responsible, if we can't see. You can't see through walls, right? So I could see where, if somebody was in their house after the fact and something major happened, and why didn't the home inspector pick up on it? And that happens a lot in the winter, I would say, especially when pools are closed and things happen. Like I always say, little gremlins come in the middle of the night, right? Mm-hmm. In the winter months. And then we open up the pool and something could be happening. And that happened to one of our listings. So it wasn't in part of the initial contract where the request was to open up the pool, but after, right before purchase and sales agreement, the buyer asked that my client open the pool and have it running.
Which is interesting that it wasn't put in the offer. I feel like it was maybe not put in the offer to seem more clean.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Which, your client could have said no easily.
Yeah.
But she is a reasonable person and got a fantastic offer, and why
she
not?
Still lives in the community, so they'll see each other for sure. But that's the thing. You don't, I guess if it wasn't in the offer, she didn't have to, but she was happy to do so. And lo and behold, I don't even know if I told you this. The pool heater is broken and has to be replaced at the tune of $6,500.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. So, I mean, her offer, was a good and fair offer, and she wants to make it right. I mean, she probably would have felt really bad, when the pool was put away in the fall, everything was working fine, but had a pool company close it and everything else. But, as with everything, mechanicals tend to have a mind of their own. So
gremlins come in at night.
They do.
They come in during the seasons.
But that and central AC. So one of our agents actually had a situation with someone, was saying that the AC wasn't working properly, blah, blah, blah. Lo and behold, that all worked out because he had all the receipts that he did have the work done and it was working properly, you know.
And they just happened to purchase the property during the winter when the AC wasn't on, but it was serviced before it was shut off for the year. So when you have the receipts, again, keep the receipts.
Yes, keep receipts for everything.
Avoid, somebody coming and saying, you didn't do this.
Oh, I have to digress for a second. I mean, is any of our listeners surprised by that? Oh, Sharon's going to digress on a minute and probably talk about something that has nothing to do with real estate. Yep. This is a morning that I'm not going to skip that. Always keep your receipts. So when you go back to the UPS store to return Amazon,
did you get that squared away?
I looked at it. I tried to find it. Another window said that it was returned, but they claimed that my return never got to them at Amazon. So I called the UPS store and they were like, "Oh, do you have the receipt?" And I was like, "No, I never even take them. I just assume it's in your hands."
It was never offered to me.
I mean, it was in your hands. I didn't think it could get lost from me handing it to you to wherever. But I didn't say that to him because I obviously didn't think. But he said, just so people know, when you return things to the UPS store, they have just one big box and they take everything out of the packages anyways. And just one big box goes back to Amazon.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, is that why they say, you can drop it off without a box?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because it goes into one big box. No wonder things get missing.
No wonder. Well, I know that I've dropped things off to the Staples location and they just scan it. And then I usually automatically get an email just saying we're starting to process your email. So maybe go that route.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that instead. I like the little UPS store though. They're very efficient.
Very efficient. All right. Risk and liability. And you sort of touched upon it. So let's talk about listing agents. What is the risk and liability when it comes to a listing agent?
Yeah.
Disclosures.
Yeah. So this is a really tough one for agents because as we're walking through a house, I've never lived here, so I don't know for sure, We also have to take that what our sellers is telling us is truthful. Mm-hmm. And we've said this in the past too, if someone says, "Oh, what's the age of the roof?" and you have an older roof, you can't say, "Oh, well, it doesn't matter how old it is. It doesn't leak. It doesn't leak."
Well, that's not what I asked you.
Yeah, I'm curious how many years it has left, Yeah,
just be upfront and honest, because if you get caught with your tail between your legs, then you have an issue. Exactly. You don't have an issue if you're just honest and upfront. Let somebody put in an emotional offer if they want.
And let people make the decision based on the information that they have. You know what I mean? So, because I always go back to that. And again, we had a situation that happened with one of our agents this week that, it was like a situation. Doesn't that sound like it's
it's in the situation room?
Yeah, we had a situation and we were all gathered around the Oval Office or something. We had a situation. No, we had a circumstance, I guess. But what was I just about to say? I don't know.
Are you talking about the
we'll get into that. But we don't live in these homes, so we don't know for sure, how old anything is. So we just tell everybody. Oh, and here's the thing, we just got a new listing. We're getting a new listing, and there's two of them actually coming on. So I have one coming on in Dedham. So anyone who likes that Dedham area, this is an adorable cape. It's perfect. But what was I going to say? Why am I all over the place?
I don't know.
Maybe I didn't sleep well last night.
Maybe you're still sleeping.
Maybe I am. Am I still sleeping? I don't know. But
2 new listings coming on, one in Dedham.
Oh, so I asked you to just go to the town hall and look up permits. Like that's getting easier and easier to do. So not being truthful as a seller of, disclosing what you need to disclose is not going to help you. Like, being sort of aloof to certain things that isn't an answer.
We recently were in a property that we know of a disclosure and
lawsuit.
No. Well, yes, but same situation, but we know of something that is a disclosure that should be disclosed. So, perhaps we go through the avenue of letting everybody know that thing is in the basement. That's a disclosable item.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Radon.
Oh, radon. Okay, yeah.
No mention of a radon mitigation system.
Yeah,
so,
that was weird to me too.
That is a disclosable item. So if we were listing a property, we would put that in disclosures that there is a radon mitigation system, whether it's being used or not.
Yeah, that's an interesting one too, because with radon, it isn't really regulated through the government or anything like lead paint is. Nor is mold, but if you have it, you need to disclose it.
Yeah.
And then if you have a radon mitigation system, I don't think that that's a bad thing. Like having a sump pump having a sump pump isn't a bad thing. But people are like, oh, it has a sump pump. All right. Well, unless you're going to purchase a house like on a hill that's super dry, but if you're buying in towns like Bridgewater, like the town name sort of gives you a hint. Norwell. Right?
Yeah.
You sort of know where the water is. Just follow the names of the towns. They came up with these names. I should have John Buckley on with me again and discuss that.
Speaking of water, I told everybody I have an otter.
I know. And there's an otter.
And Halifax does not have water in its name or a well in its name. But
how do we know what Halifax means? Like it could.
It could. I don't know. Well, I'll have to go back on the show that Kristen and I did on the town of Halifax. When we were doing our little. I like to call it a zip trip. I know that was something that was already out there in the universe.
That's already taken.
We couldn't. But when we were highlighting communities south of Boston, one of the shows that we did was Halifax.
Zip Connect.
Connecting you
with your zip code.
Oh. Yeah. That's great.
Isn't that wonderful? Oh, let's use it. What town should we do?
All right, nobody steal it.
Yeah.
I swear, I'm coming after you.
Yeah. But when it comes back to disclosures, like anything that you know about the house, we have like a 7-page document that we use the MAR forms, which are Massachusetts Association of Realtors. So we use those forms, and there is, I think it's like a 7-page document, maybe even more, that basically has a full list of all the things that about your house.
Yeah.
And as a seller, you're supposed to check them off. But then there are situations for me, I am helping a lot of my clients who are selling their parents' homes. They don't know. They haven't lived there in 30 years themselves, so they don't know the different things over the years, what's happening. So, but you do it to the best of your ability, but don't try to hide anything. You can't hide anything. Ask Mike Fabrel.
Oh my gosh. Right?
I know. I'm so upset about that.
Yeah, so upset.
I said that I'd never watch another Patriots game, and Mark said, "Oh, yeah, right. Fun day Sunday for him."
I know. What was I going to say about that? Not about Mike Vrabel. Jeez. But I was going to say even in my own house. I've been in my house for 2.5 years. I don't know if I could fill out that whole form accurately.
Yeah.
Because I'm not the only owner it's ever had.
Yeah,
so
I know.
I have no idea.
Believe me.
Unless I've done something, serviced something during my 2.5 years, I don't know if I could answer that question.
That's another one too, though, is always keep track of everything that you are doing.
Yeah.
I have a little notebook in my desk at home, but it isn't 100%. Like I couldn't even tell you when we put the addition on the house, and that was sort of a big deal, because we did all the windows at that time. We did the roof over.
Look at the permits.
Yeah, I could. We could go back and look at all the permits, and that's on my list of things to do. But I think sellers, just so you know, if you are listing your home, don't be afraid. And I've been talking. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to do this morning is I was going to go on to Clubhouse because I got that all set up. I don't just disclose everything. And there's a big conversation out there is, should we have, a pre-home inspection? And they're doing this more and more throughout the country in different states, just to sort of give the seller, okay, I don't have anything that's unexpected that's going to come up. And then the buyers have a little more, okay, I know that they had a home inspection, but it doesn't really matter here because one of the reasons people would do a pre-home inspection is potentially for people who are waiving home inspections, and you can't do that in Massachusetts anymore.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I mean, it doesn't take away the right for the buyer to have a home inspection. So you might be having 2 home inspections on the same house, which 2 different home inspectors can have 2 different results.
Yeah, they always have to come up with something.
So
right?
They always have to come up with something. But back to disclosure. So again, your agent isn't the one living in the house. So being honest and forthright is probably your best bet to avoid that liability that comes along with it. So some things that are disclosable items. So, mold, structural issues, septic problems as well. Obviously, doing a Title V inspection before going on the market is always the best route to go.
And that's what we're doing with, we have a new listing coming up in Norwell and the septic system. We're in the process right now of getting it inspected, figuring out if it needs a new system, getting the engineers over there, taking care of it. But there are different ways of doing that. And when we do a septic show, we'll talk about that, because I did show a house last night and the agent was great about saying the system has failed and the seller is not taking care of it. So it's the buyer's responsibility to take care of it. But that's one of those good examples of, it, you disclose it, and then you deal with whatever it is. You know what I mean?
How did your client feel about that?
She's good. I mean, she's very sort of level-headed anyways and sort of even-toned, doesn't get too heightened about certain things. So it's just, okay, this is what it is. And, I feel as if the house is priced according to that condition that it's in, and just trying to figure out, all the logistics of trying to now buy a house that doesn't have a system.
Yeah. And find how that works
and
with
try
financing.
Try to figure it out. Yeah.
And then you have to sort of think about the failure to disclose this. So, you could have lawsuits after closing. There could be financial damages, license discipline. There could be, you could get your license taken away in certain situations when things aren't disclosed. Again, we don't live in these homes, but if we know something, we have to disclose it.
Yeah.
And if we don't, we could lose our license.
Well, and the other thing, I remember the very first house I ever sold was in Bridgewater. It was a cute little cape. And when the buyers moved in, they were really upset because something happened to one of the ceilings in the house. And then they were like, you should have recognized this, or the home inspector should have recognized this. And I said, this is my first house I'm ever selling. But no, I didn't say that. But it was a long, long time ago. And I remember how nervous it made me. And putting that fear in me, I don't think is what sort of puts me in the direction of being very to the books and disclosing everything and worrying about the risk and liability. But it was one of those situations I was like, is the first house I sell going to end up in a 93A lawsuit? And it was because the paint was peeling off of the ceiling in one of the bedrooms. I don't know. I don't know why the inspector didn't see it either. And like I said, I don't even know why I wasn't there with a mentor that should have been training me through the whole thing. I probably never noticed it either.
Wait, I missed it for a second. Was it because of water damage?
No, it was something to do with the paint or something, that it was like, was peeling, it didn't stick right. So yeah, they were like, this should have been disclosed and blah, 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 blah,
and
blah.
they didn't see it either during their...
No one saw it during the home inspection. I didn't see it. I didn't notice it.
I would have gone back and seen if it was in the photos.
In the photos, yeah.
Although, did you have MLS then?
Yeah.
I didn't mean that in a rude way, but you always talk about some book.
Yeah, there was a book. We had a book. We had gas lanterns that we used to, and a keyboard,
horse and buggy.
Yeah, and a typewriter.
Roads.
A typewriter.
Yeah. When I first started in real estate, I did use a typewriter. So that's not too long ago. There was a typewriter. You would make changes changes to certain documents
all
with
the forms with the typewriter.
With the typewriter. So, because the forms weren't online. They were all paper, and then you had to fill it in. But
and then they were like all carbon copy.
Yes. So everybody got a copy. The other thing I want to talk about, and when it comes to listing agents and the risk and liability that comes along with that, and it's also with your accuracy in marketing. Again, that goes a lot with the disclosures and what your seller is telling you. But when I went to the Greater Boston Roadshow this year, they had a whole section on AI and marketing and real estate, and it was interesting because it's sort of, you would think, common knowledge, but some people don't really think about it. And I don't mean that in a rude way, but with AI and a lot of these websites that people are using to enhance some photos, whether it's Photoshop or ChatGPT or anything like that, enhancing these photos, maybe making the sky a little bit more blue or the grass a little bit greener, so it just pops a little bit more. You have to be careful, because you have to make sure that that grass can get that green, or you need to have a disclosure.
I thought that was really interesting because, I mean, again, when it comes to risk and liability, it's one of the things that we're sort of hyper-focused on anyways. But I loved that you came back with that, because I don't know that I think you can sort of tell when things are enhanced. Yeah. But I never really thought about
But someone can come back and say, my grass doesn't get this green.
Yeah.
And we see that sometimes with new construction too. So, just making sure that disclosure is out there. Hey, this picture was modified, enhanced by AI, but we assure you, the product that we're sort of selling is fantastic. Don't you want to buy it? But making sure that your accuracy in marketing is there. So even the square footage, I think we've come across that before of, what's the accurate square footage of a home. Sometimes public record says something different. The seller thinks of it as one way, I want to include the basement. Well,
that's a big one, and that's the thing. That's like a marketing thing. And I know that's where we are right now, is talking about like marketing and the risk that you take. And, people always want to embellish. Like I always say, nobody has an ugly baby, right? Yeah. So that's how people feel about their homes as well. And, to embellish in, the 1,000 characters that you have to talk about the house and say things that aren't completely accurate are only going to backfire on you.
Yeah. Number of bedrooms is also a big one. So, if you're advertising, say, a 4-bedroom colonial, but it's really a 3-bedroom, it just walks and talks like a 4-bedroom. Yeah. But you have a 3-bedroom septic.
Check that. That happened to me early in my career too. See, here's the thing. I've made a lot of mistakes in my career, apparently, right? And they weren't really mistakes. They were oversights. But again, where was my training, right? And like talking about these things. We talk about these things in our office all the time. That's one of the things I love about our agents. And, we're a small but mighty group for sure. Yeah. And when one of us has an issue, it's almost like a family. It's like one of us, has a broken leg. Everybody comes in to sort of like come up with solutions on how to make it right.
How can we walk with 2?
Exactly. And that's one of the things is I forget where I was. Right?
Yeah. It really becomes misrepresentation. And I think that's where people get upset is they believe, I thought I was buying a 4-bedroom colonial. It walks and talks like a 4-bedroom colonial, but my septic system is a 3-bedroom. So you should be advertising that as a legal 3-bedroom with an office or with additional space or something like that. You can spin it that way. And I think that sometimes you can even say like, what you do after I walk away is your business. However, I have to legally tell you that this is a 3-bedroom. Yeah. Again, you have a 4th space.
Okay, well, that's something that's happening with us right now, too. So there's a resale property that's in, one of our past developments or one of our developments. And it's a resale, and it was stated that it had 3 bedrooms, but it's showing like it has 4 bedrooms. So when you look at the count on the pictures, this again is false advertising in marketing, right? That you see, if you see 4 different beds in 4 different rooms, you're trying to give.
Unless there's one in the kitchen.
Yeah. Then you know for sure. But you're trying to give the consumer the impression that this is there probably are 4 physical beds, 4 physical rooms, 4 bedrooms that you're seeing. But again, you better check your septic system to make sure your septic system count goes along with it. And that's one of the things that I was starting to say earlier in my career, I was a buyer's agent on a property. It was someone in my office was listing it. It was the top producing agent in that office, by the way. And it stated that it was 4 bedrooms. It looks like 4 bedrooms. Had to pass Title V and everything. At that time, no one was teaching me how to read all these things, which is scary, which is probably why I am the way I am with that. Like when we have new agents, you know, and then fast forward, when they went to sell the property, that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to do my research. I went to town hall. I got the Title V. I did all these things. And I was like, whoa.
It's a 3-bedroom
This is a 3-bedroom septic.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, they weren't upset with me because even back then, I don't even know that we actually had true buyer agency. We didn't.
Yeah.
It was, it was all sub-agency, which is another story for another day that no one will be interested in.
That's a show for another time. You can replay it. I want to, anything else to do with marketing? I know that we're sort of heavily focusing on listing agents, and I want to move on to maybe property access and security. But
we'll definitely hit that. So we're not getting past that one.
Okay, well, we'll just talk about it now. So a listing agent is responsible for who enters the property and how. We have a program called Showing Time that we use, where agents can set up showings for our listings. Our agents can set up showings, mouthful, for their buyers on other agents' listings. And you have to be a licensed agent to use this, because you get access information for access to homes. So whether it's a lockbox code or a security code or anything like that, you are not supposed to share that.
I put in Showing Time. When I had a new listing, Mary and I had a new listing in Marshfield, which went under agreement right away. And we talked about that one last week when we were talking about multiple offers.
Yeah.
And, why am I keep on losing my mindset? Oh, I know. So then we were in Showing Time. I was, I have to fill in the back end of this program. So people who are setting up appointments, it's a company too, right? So off hours and stuff, they answer our phones and people can always set up appointments, blah, blah, blah. And I wrote in there you can do a section where I'm talking to the buyer's agents who are using the lockbox to get in. Now we know that if they're in Showing Time, they're part of MLS. So we know that they have their license, blah, 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 blah. So it's sort of like a safety precaution on our end. And I wrote in the firm remarks, or the remarks for the agents and special showing instructions. Please ensure all doors are locked, on departure. Please stay with your buyer throughout your showing. Please do not give code to your buyer. And then I wrote, I can't believe I have to write this either. Yeah. Remember I told you how I was doing it? I left it in there. I can't believe I have to write this either.
Yeah.
Because what the heck?
What
the heck is going on?
What is going on?
No, listen, you people, we take every single precaution that we possibly can to make sure, we're doing everything. I'm calling all the agents that are coming into my listings. A lot of our agents are doing accompanied showings. A situation that happened this week, the agent does accompanied showings on this new listing that she had in Hingham. And, and it's funny because as the broker owner, I have these 2 hats that I wear. One, when I'm a listing agent or a buyer's agent, I put I'm the mama bear to my client. When I'm the broker, I'm the mama bear to my agents. Yeah. Right. And nothing gets me more fiery when somebody is poking my bear. Yeah. And I was so upset about this because not only did it happen once, it happened twice. Oh, did it happen twice? Oh, no, it happened 3 times because when we were talking to Trish Flynn yesterday about it, it happened to her. Oh, no, that person was with another company, but it happened now 3 times with top producing agents.
Yeah.
I'm not calling anybody out on anything. I'm never obviously going to name anybody's name in anything that I say, but can I tell you the shock and awe in me when you're allowing it? And you know what? I always say that like God has the path for my business, right? Like he's the one that's been like navigating this ship of what we call Boston Connect Real Estate, right? And how coincidental is it in all 3 situations that it happened that the person got caught because the seller came home?
I know. And you know what's interesting? This is a PSA to all buyers out there.
PSA.
If your agent just tells you to go to the property that, gives you the lockbox code, you're trespassing. Mm-hmm. Just so you know, you are trespassing. Mm-hmm. And especially if you do not have an appointment, because that happened all 3 times.
All 3 times.
Didn't have an appointment, thought that they could just go to the property, send their client. What? And my first response is call the cops.
Yeah.
They're trespassing.
Mm-hmm. Someone else said that to me. I was talking to my friends on Clubhouse, and I was telling them about the situation this week when it happened, because I was just like, I can't even believe this happened. Am I over?
It's just not okay.
It's not.
And the fact that, especially in this situation, and even I know of the second one, I'm not sure about the one that Trish had said, but the client had come home, found them, and felt uncomfortable in their own space. Should I leave because they're here? Should I stay because they're here? And that's not right. It's their property. Mm-hmm. Get off.
Yeah. Yeah, get off the property.
Get off.
You shouldn't be walking on anybody's property, whether it's vacant or it isn't vacant.
Yeah.
But in one situation, it was the pool, right? Trish's, it was the pool that they sent a pool guy over. The situation we had this week with one of our agents, they had the home inspection. Apparently the assistant let them in, but then the assistant left, but they took a dining room chair to look in the attic and broke the chair.
Yeah.
And you're not supposed to be in the house. You don't have an appointment. And, and the silly thing about this is, how easy is it to set up an appointment?
Yeah.
So I have a listing right now, and they've been over there. And it says in the purchase and sales agreement, they haven't gotten to purchase and sales agreement yet. But from my situation, it's like you get 3 times to go into the property, right? One would be the appraisal, blah, 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 blah. But when you're dealing with a vacant property, like generally the sellers don't mind. But you know, even if it's a vacant property, you're not just getting permission from me. So somebody's going to one of our listings today. They're going there at 10 o'clock. And I said to the agent, you have to be there because you're the agent. And, you have to be accompanying your client through it. But I had to verify with my seller that they're okay with somebody being in their property and on their home.
Yeah, even when I was buying my house and you were the listing agent, I would say, hey, can I meet the floor guy there? And you'd say, yeah, absolutely. Just make sure you empty the dehumidifier downstairs. And I'd say, okay.
While you're there, I put you to work.
Getting permission, and everybody knows that you're there.
Yeah.
You're not trespassing. You're where you're supposed to be because you have permission.
I know. Call in. Let us know what you think about this topic. We haven't given the phone number, 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. That will get you to the WAT studio. As I said, Tim McKinney, our producer, is in the studio in Marshfield. We are in our home studio here at Boston Connect Real Estate, located right in Pembroke Center. So if you're ever driving by, you'll see a big white sign out front that says live on WATD. You can come in and say hello. You just have to be quiet. Yeah, because we're on air.
You have to whisper it.
Yes. Yeah, but if you have, thoughts, comments, concerns, ideas, whatever about this topic or anything with real estate, please feel free to give us a call, 781-837-4900. You can also send a text to Tim at that same phone number, and he will read us your text message.
Yeah. Just getting back on the topic, so sharing the lockbox code removes all accountability, opens the door to theft, vandalism, and injury.
Like, that's the big one. That's what I said to, when I called the agent, and I was like, I'm just shocked that this was allowed. Like, all you had to do was make an appointment and this wouldn't have been a problem.
Yeah.
And the assistant left the lockbox unlocked, left the buyer there with contractors walking around the exterior of the home and access to the interior of the home.
Yeah. And I gave the example yesterday or whenever we were talking about this is, I have covered appointments for you and for Mary where, and honestly, some of our other agents as well, whether they're on vacation or with their, clients or anything like that, I can remember sitting in a driveway for another 15, 20 minutes while an appraiser walks around outside because he was done or she was done inside. Mm-hmm. And then they say, oh, okay, I'm just going to walk around a bit. Okay. Well, I'll wait in my car then.
Yeah.
Like, I'll wait for you to be done. I'm not going to drive off and leave you unattended at a listing. It's just not going to happen. So to go from that extreme to, oh, let me just give you the lockbox code and not even be there.
It's just absolutely, it like floored me that this even happened, Ultimately, the agent felt bad about it and, called my agent and apologized. But still, this is what, and like I said, as I was, having this discussion with some of my friends on Clubhouse, again, these are all my friends that are throughout the country that are real estate agents and they're all like top notch professionals, and I'm telling them this story and the first thing, one of them was like, call the cops, just like you said, right? Just call the cops. You're trespassing. But you sort of don't want to get into that predicament either with somebody who's buying your house.
You absolutely don't, but they're also
but also
but they put you in that position.
You put me in this position. And the
so
sellers,
why should we feel bad?
Well, we shouldn't. I know, you're right. It's just me,
Yeah.
The sellers were really upset. I mean, this is an estate sale. It was their home. It was their parents' home. They lost both of their parents within a short time frame of each other. It's all new, it's fresh, and like to be sort of like, oh well, we were going over there to change out the smoke detectors and somebody's in our house. It just felt like a violation. So but you were just talking about, sometimes the appraisers, they're like, oh, I just have to measure the outside. And it's like, all right, well, I'll be waiting in my car. And I know recently with the listing I had in West Bridgewater, that I was there with the fire department and they were doing their thing. Oh no, maybe it was the appraiser. I was there with the appraiser, and as the appraiser, he measured outside. I waited in my car and until he was done. It was colder. It was winter. And, he's leaving. And as he's leaving, another car pulls up and I get out of my car and I was like, oh, is there something I can help you with? Like, I'm the listing agent. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm here with the bank doing the survey. That's the thing that bothers me is that survey, they never call.
Yeah.
They never call and set up an appointment. And I'm like, this, and I, now I'm in the habit when I speak to my clients that I always say to them, for every appointment, I will let you know when somebody is in the house, when somebody is going to be here. However, if you're ever home and you see somebody who's wandering around looking like they're looking for your lot lines and things like that, for some reason or another, they never call us to set up that appointment. And I don't know why they think they have the right to do that.
If I were them, I'd be so nervous because what if somebody, got territorial about their property?
Yeah.
And weren't so happy that you were there.
Well, I'm sure that
Didn't
they
give
run
you an
into
opportunity to say why you were there. Things happen.
Well, this one kid that I met that day, he's like, I said something to him. I was like, why don't they ever let us know? And he's like, that's funny because in his notes, it says that appointment was set with the real estate agent.
Yeah.
Well, I'm the real estate agent. I know that it wasn't.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not trying to give you a hard time. You're already here. Like, do your thing. He goes, well, I usually, when I come to somebody's house, I always knock on the door. And I go, okay, so if nobody's home,
do you still just walk around?
You're still walking around.
And who doesn't have cameras now?
And that's what I was going to say. And these people in particular had cameras on every single corner of their house, right? Mm-hmm. So they would have been like, who is at my house right now? And it would have made them nervous. And all of that can be avoided with a simple, appointment. And, this is what I think is for buyers, who are listening right now. And, there's a lot to sort of juggle with all these different steps and all these processes and everything. If you need to get back in the house, you have your home inspection period anyways. Yeah. Just all you have to do is say to your agent, can you set up an appointment? And I'm sure, and this is the other thing too, I said to this agent, and, oh, my client apologizes, blah, blah. This was nothing to do with your client. This is everything to do with you because you didn't set up the appointment.
Yeah.
We're not upset with the buyer that the buyer is doing what he thought that you okayed. We're upset with you because you thought in some moment of like unclarity that it was okay to just go over to somebody else's house with a crew of people.
Yeah. I mean, what? On what planet? Anyways, we have less than 10 minutes left in the show, and we've barely scratched the surface of risk and liability.
I'll stay on topic, I promise.
But ultimately, and we talked about fiduciary responsibilities. You know, as a listing agent, your fiduciary duty is to your sellers. So as a listing agent, you have to act in your seller's best interest, which is hard when other people sort of try to violate that, and protect the property and financial outcome. Maintain confidentiality. So, you know, the actions of a buyer's agent also affects a listing agent. And this was a perfect example because now our agent had to have that difficult conversation with her seller.
And another thing too that I want to say is, you know, and not that this one is as much about risk and liability, but it's about disclosure. You know, are you, you know, you're giving the impression, now this is an estate sale, and we can't make the decision or the deciding factor for our clients of what is important to them when they're accepting an offer. Obviously, we have to keep them in line with all fair housing laws and rules and regulations, and that's why the love letter thing doesn't work as well anymore, right? But don't, as an agent, give the listing agent the impression that, you know, they are moving into this house. Then when our agent was there, went right over there, like dropped everything she was doing, have the conversation with the buyer, said, you're not there, by the way. Guess what? Guess what we're talking to? We're talking directly to your buyer now.
Yeah.
Dum-dum. So, I mean, I'm not calling anyone a dum-dum, but like, I just love that.
Dum-dums are lollipops.
Yeah, I love that word. I just love saying it. But like, now your client is letting us know that this is actually a flip and not going to be a primary residence. So, this is how I felt about that was, okay, it may not change the mind of your seller. However, that is not up to us to decide.
Yeah.
It is up to our seller client to decide if that is important information for them to have or not. That's when you just said our fiduciary responsibility is to our client, whether it be buyer or seller. Fiduciary responsibility means that anything and everything that we know, we must disclose and let them know, because I said this to that same agent, you know, why would you give her the impression that they're living there, that this is going to be primary resident, when he's clearly saying that it's going to be a flip? And she's like, well, I don't know for sure. Okay, I don't believe that. I'm just saying, I don't believe that, but perhaps, I'm not going to call anyone a liar, but perhaps you didn't know. But is this information, and this is what I said to my client, to my agent, you know, she's like, you know, and I said, I think that you should tell your seller about this. And she's like, okay. And I said, here's the reason why. First of all, you know, and it's going to weigh on you more than it's going to ever weigh on anything for the rest of your career. Right? Yeah. Like, you're always going to think about it. So get it off your chest. But could that potentially have had the seller make a different decision?
Yeah.
It's not up to us to decide. It isn't always financial. We proved that last week with our other listing with our client, where it was more about the security of it than the sale price of it.
Will you ask yourself that question when you are in grievance?
Yes.
Right? Mm-hmm. Would this have changed the outcome or changed the mind of whether it's the buyer or the seller? Mm-hmm. If it's a yes, then what? It gets pushed up?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could have this potentially, if the party involved had all of this information in front of them, would they potentially have made a different decision?
Yeah.
So this is why we're saying disclose everything that you know, because it will end up catching up with you. It just does. So if you say, you know, that you didn't know the age of the roof, let's just say, but like you truly do know the age of the roof, and then it ends up getting, you know, then you do know. But like, okay, the roof is 30 years old, not 15 years old. Would have this buyer made a different decision? How would that buyer's offer been? Would have it been the same offer based on that information, that accurate information? And that's why it's important to always disclose.
We only have a couple minutes left. We didn't get to really any of the other segments. So I actually want to give you an opportunity to promote your 2 listings that are coming on in the next couple weeks. Give a little shout out in case there is somebody out there who's interested in those properties.
Yeah. So one of them is in Norwell. That is a 4-bedroom colonial. We're just finishing up some things over there. So Mark went over there yesterday to check on things, met the painter over there. So they were just finishing up some plastering because they had taken a wall down several years ago. So we were just finishing up some stuff. So it's a beautiful 4-bedroom colonial with a gorgeous, gorgeous sunroom with nice big vaulted ceilings and this whole like wood vibe. It's really awesome. And it overlooks the in-ground pool. That's a 4-bedroom colonial in Norwell. That is going on the market for $1.1 million. And the other one is in Dedham, and I'm calling it a 3-bedroom. So there's 2 bedrooms on the first floor. It's an older Cape, and it has upstairs.
It looks so cute.
It is so stinking cute. Yes. And we haven't finalized a price on that one, so I'm not going to discuss the price, but I will certainly have that price confirmed in the next couple days. So we're just, the pictures just came back to us the other day, and we're going to be coming live on the market Monday, Tuesday for that one. So you can keep your eyes open for that. But you can always call me, 781-294-4848. Send me a text if you want more information about either of those properties. And if you're working with a buyer's agent currently, you can just have your buyer's agent give me a call as well. And if you're not working with a buyer's agent, of course, at Boston Connect Real Estate, we have the best of the best. So I'm happy to refer you to one of our buyer's agents as I represent the seller.
Yeah. And we're not biased. We just know that we have the best.
Yes, I know. Yeah, we do. We really do. I mean, they're so good.
Yeah. There's even some downstairs getting ready for our event today.
For our Mother's Day event. Yeah. And of course, we do have some open houses. We are sold out of Cushing Trails in Hanson. So there are no more units available there. So the last unit will be selling in May. So that was I think that was the fastest selling development that Stonebridge Homes had. And we were happy to represent them over there.
Yeah.
Now we have Cochise Estates. We recently opened up phase 3. Sue Bollinger, full-time agent here at Boston Connect Real Estate, is doing that open house for us today from 10 to 12. So again, that's Cochise Estates. You can look up Metacomet Road in West Bridgewater, and she's doing the open house 10 to 2 over there.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
Because she's not doing the event today. So. And then tomorrow, I don't know who's there tomorrow. Maybe Kristen?
Maybe.
Is Kristen there? Maybe Kristen Howlett or Mary Horton will be there tomorrow. I'll be there on Mother's Day. So if you want to come and visit me.
Bye.
Yeah, I just want all the young mothers to be able to be with their children. And, one of mine doesn't live here and my other one is always working. So I figured I'd work for everybody.
Yeah, 42 Bayberry Road in Abington is a new listing from Faith Birmingham. She will be there tomorrow, Sunday, May 3rd, from 11 to 1 p.m. And also...
How much is that on for?
That one...
That's all right. Go ahead. Move on.
Moving on is 11 McAuliffe Road in Randolph. Matt Mahoney will be there Saturday, May 2nd, from 11 to 1.
Perfect. And if you want more information about our listings here at Boston Connect Real Estate, go to bostonconnect.com. And again, always feel free to reach out to us either at the office, 781-826-8000, or you can find our agents on bostonconnect.com. And have a great week, everybody.
The neighborly day for a beauty. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? I have always wanted to have a neighbor just like you. I've always wanted to live in a neighborhood.